Okay, let's jump right into the deep dive. Today, we are really unpacking the latest real estate trends for the London and St. Thomas area, getting our insights right from the source. We've got the May 2025 Residential Market Report from the London and St. Thomas Association of Realtors here. And this data comes to us courtesy of Forest Hill Real Estate, the Distinction branch in London, Ontario. So, the big picture. Looks like the market's navigating, some economic pressures, but, and this is key, it's showing real signs of resilience and adjustment. If you're thinking about buying, selling, maybe investing around here, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Absolutely. We're going to try and boil down the key numbers and trends from this report, give you a clear idea of what's actually happening on the ground. And, for more specific expert advice tailored to your own plans, you can always check out www.foresthilldistinction.com. Lots of great resources there.
For sure. So here's what we'll cover. We'll look at sales numbers, check out new listings, active inventory, price points, and then, pull it all together. What does it mean for market balance? And we'll definitely be highlighting the positive signs we're seeing in this data. All right, let's start with that main snapshot for May 2025. Total home sales were 722. Now, that is down a bit from May last year, but before you jump to conclusions, you need to look at the other side of the coin, which is supply. And that's where things get, well, pretty interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Because new listings, they were up significantly. We're talking nearly 2,000 new homes hitting the market just in May. And even more telling, maybe, is the active listings, the total number of homes for sale at month's end. That climbed even higher, over 3,000 properties available.
Wow, over 3,000.
Yeah. And what that really means, especially if you're a buyer right now, is choice. Lots more choice. Going from maybe a tight market to suddenly having thousands of options, that's a big shift.
It really is.
It's encouraging, It means less pressure, potentially more room to find the right place, not just any place. It shows the market is adjusting, offering a wider selection. And while, the report mentions things like economic uncertainty, maybe U.S. tariffs having some background influence, the real story here, the positive one, is how the local market is adapting by boosting that inventory. Sellers are stepping up.
That definitely feels like a healthier situation than those super tight markets we saw. More breathing room. So, okay, more homes available. What about prices? Where did they land in May?
The average home price across the whole L-Star region was about $656,000.
Okay, 656,000. And how does that compare?
Well, this is where that resilience really shows, that average price. It's actually up slightly, 1.4% compared to May of last year.
Just over 1% up.
Yeah, which might sound small, but think about it. With sales slightly down and more homes for sale, the fact that prices are still ticking upwards even a little bit year over year, that signals pretty stable demand underneath it all.
Right, it didn't drop off despite the other shifts.
Yeah, exactly. And that leads us right into market balance. The report uses this metric, months of inventory. For May, it was sitting at 4.5 months.
4.5 months. So what does that number actually tell us?
It's basically how long it would take to sell all the homes currently listed if no new ones came up and sales kept going at the May pace. So 4.5 months.
And is that high? Low? Where does that sit on the scale?
It points towards a much more balanced market. Compared to maybe 1 or 2 months of inventory, which is a frantic seller's market, or say 8 or 10 months, which would be a strong buyer's market, 4.5 is getting into that middle ground.
Healthier, maybe?
Yeah, healthier is a good word. It tends to create opportunities for both buyers and sellers. Buyers get more choice, maybe a bit more negotiation power. Sellers, well, they're still seeing stable, even slightly rising prices, which shows their property values holding up. The report really emphasizes this combo rising inventory plus stable prices as, key positive signs. Resilience.
It makes sense. The market's adjusting, not crashing.
Precisely. And the report also mentions the HPI benchmark price. That's useful too. It tracks a typical home over time, smooths things out. Good for long-term trends. But the average price, that $656,000, that gives us the immediate picture of what actually sold last month. Both are showing stability, really. Looking at the benchmark prices for specific housing types gives us more granular insight. And in May, single-family homes overall, one-story homes and two-story homes, they all saw their benchmark prices increase month over month from April. So positive movement there.
Okay, so momentum across common types.
Exactly. But the standout really was one-story homes. Their benchmark price jumped 3.54% just from April to May. That's a solid monthly gain.
Just in 1 month. Wow.
Yeah. And zooming out, the 5-year picture for one-story homes is also really strong. The report shows their benchmark price is up over 55% over the last 5 years.
55%, that's significant long-term growth for that specific type.
It really is. It highlights, continued strong demand and appreciation in that segment. Could be demographics, could be buyer preferences, but the numbers show that value growth is robust there. Definitely a
Yeah.
positive point.
Okay, so pulling this all together, we've got more listings, stable average prices nudging up slightly year over year, a move towards balance, and specific strength in areas like one-story homes. What's the bottom line for our listeners? What does this mean for you right now?
Well, if you're a buyer, that surge in listings is probably the biggest news. More choice, less frenzy. That's a definite plus. Gives you more power, more time.
More breathing room, like we said.
Exactly. If you're a seller, seeing prices hold stable, even increase slightly year over year despite more competition, that's reassuring. It suggests it's still a good market to list in with solid underlying demand.
So opportunities on both sides then.
Seems that way. And for investors, paying attention to those segment trends, like the strong performance of one-story homes over the long term, that's valuable info. It shows there's still strong appreciation potential in certain niches. I think the main takeaway really is that the market's proving resilient. It's adapting, moving towards balance, and offering opportunities if you stay informed and strategic.
Okay, so let's wrap up this deep dive on the May 2025 L-Star report. The key positive takeaways that really jump out. First, that big increase in listings, great news for buyer choice. Second, the price stability, with that small year-over-year rise in the average price showing underlying strength. And third, that overall move towards a more balanced market condition.
That sums it up well. And remember, this data is straight from the L-Star report shared with us by the great folks at Forest Hill Real Estate, Distinction Branch in London. If you want personalized advice on how these trends impact your specific situation, checking out their website, www.foresthilldistinction.com, is a really good next step for that expert input.
Absolutely.